Boom.
This shit's fire.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Before we get started and before I get into my sponsors and all that, I just want to give a big shout out to all my friends in Florida. Man, I hope every single one of you guys and girls are safe. I hope, man, no damage really happens to any of you. I'm sending you guys nothing but love. I already put my house up for offer. I got an empty lot right next door. Anybody want to come out to Virginia? I got a house, hot showers, good food, and proper mega willy good time, right? So I just wanted to say that book before we got started. But you guys know the deal and the routine. This episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take total control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial analysis need today by Seth Starnes. And Chad, I say this to everybody. Don't buy an off-the-rack suit. You can, but 90% of us, it's not going to fit you correctly. And you know just as well as I do, and a lot of other people out there, if you don't have a suit that fits you correctly, man, it causes all kinds of issues while you're riding, right? Body position, arm pump.
Oh, it's so annoying. So annoying. You're all bunched up or limited and you can't move around. You feel like an idiot. Yeah. It's proper fitting suit is the most important.
Bro, super restrictive, right? Feel tight. It's like, yeah, don't do it. Go to bisontrack.com, get your custom suit started today. You see, I got mine hung up right here. I got my chest protector, all that good stuff, right? It's super easy to do. They make it so simple. Plus, Robert and Tasha are the most amazing people you're ever going to meet in your life, right? Why would you not want to join the herd? They're at every Moto America race, at a lot of track day events. And if you happen to have a mishap, you take it to them, they'll get it fixed right there on the spot and take care of you, right? So why wouldn't you want to sign up? Bisontrack.com, people. But anyway, listen, it's an absolute honor to sit down with the legend himself, Chad Lewin, on the podcast today, bro. What is up?
I don't know about legend, but I'm flattered. No, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk. I always have a lot to say.
Listen, man, I tell everybody it's an absolute honor to sit down with all my friends and get your guys' story out and have a proper mega really good time, right? That's our life is so short, Chad, and it's an absolute honor to be able to sit down and do this, make all the connections and the friends and the smiles and the laughs and all that good stuff. So
right, we're a small community. We got to stick together, support each other.
It's a beautiful circus, and like all their circus, we always have those clowns, right, running around in the circus. So like I know, right? So yeah,
I was the clown. I was one of them.
Me too, right? Yeah, that's what they're there for. I tell you, the next event I'm gonna go to, I think I'm gonna walk around with a super soaker. Of course, I'll wait till everything's done. And yeah, what's up, man?
Have some champagne or vodka in there, though. Let's make it fun.
Oh, bro, that's an even better idea. Shots for everybody who wants a shot. Yeah.
After the races.
Facts. After races, nobody's riding or driving anywhere. We're just there to hang out and laugh and celebrate, right? But listen, Chad, we got so much to talk about, man. We already talked about a part 2 because, man, this is going to get pretty crazy pretty quick, right? So I always have all my friends start out by telling your journey, man. Where did you begin with two wheels?
Man, my journey. So my parents showed me the movie Winners Take All when I was 2 years old. And I'm from a Jewish family. I'm tatted up. I'm not your typical Jew. And I wanted to ride motorcycles. So my dad said when I turned 10, could start riding. He passed away when I was 8. And when I turned 10, my mom's like, I can't afford a bike. So if you go work, I'll get you a bike. So I got a couple jobs at 10. And then I turned 13, got an XR100, got a CR80, started racing motocross. I was 17, going to do Supercross. And then I hurt my ankle really bad, couldn't ride. And my buddy had a street bike and I was late for homeschool. So I took a street bike, got pulled over going 120 or 30, lost my license, and then convinced my mom to let me get my motorcycle license because then I could drive myself around. And 3 weeks after I got a bike, I went to Willow Springs and it was like game over. I was hooked for life. That was it. I was hooked.
It's amazing what one time at the track will do.
Oh, even like I've been doing this race school with Compact Octane for CRA and CVMA racing, and I've licensed probably about 30-ish racers so far, and a couple of them have done their first race, and they are hooked. So it's like, I don't know if I should be like, hey, you're welcome, or I'm sorry, but welcome to the Obsession Club.
It's both things. I'm sorry, and you're welcome at the same time, right? Because you're ready to go in depth like you've never been in before. It's Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Trust
and the
me.
average
Yeah.
American has about 100,000 in debt. So I think the average racer American has 150,000 in debt.
Listen, I remember when I started, I sold my only vehicle to get around, converted my street bike to my purpose only built track bike, right? And rode my
Yep.
bicycle to work and school. I mean, that's sacrifices you make, right? I'm like, I don't need the Jeep. Who needs a Jeep? When I can go
It's
racing,
like,
you know how much stuff I could buy for racing and tires and track days? Let's go and
right?
sign up. Yeah.
No, I was the same way. I lived in my Tacoma for 3 months when I first in like 2006, seven went off racing and tried to make it. And I didn't have anything but a bike, a toolbox, some parts, and a truck. And so I just lived in the truck. I was stopping at Walmarts for showering and stuff. It wasn't pretty, but I would do it all over again. It was some of the most fun I had in life.
Oh man, it's always about the journey, Chad. It's not the destination, it's the journey, right? Even going to the track, man, it's that journey to get to the track, the anticipation, the build up. And then
Yep.
once you're there, and the only reason why I say that, Chad, because once I'm there, dude, it's gone like this, and I'm going
Yeah.
home, right? Because that's how fast it goes. And I'm like, shit, the journey there was absolutely epic. Of course, the weekend was too, right? But it's that, yeah, man, it's the
I'm
journey
the
for
same way.
sure.
Then we're on the adrenaline low, all depressed, driving home. Yeah, I hear you. I still go through it.
Me too, man. Crying, sobbing, yeah, listening to shit
Taking
you
all the
normally don't
calls,
listen
all the
to.
good or bad moments. Yeah.
Mom called you, hey, mama. She's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I just left the truck and I can't wait to go back." She's like, "Are you gonna fucking grow
I'm going
up?"
back
Like,
in 2
no.
days. This will be the worst 48 hours of my life.
Right, right, right. The world ended right now. Oh well, yeah, dude. We're all been there, right? Like, for example, like this weekend, man, I'm supposed to go to SFL Mini GP and ride with them in at the Heron compound. But again, with that
Oh,
storm
nice.
coming through, and I just don't know if it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because all my friends that run SFL, Michael Correa and all them, die. That storm's going right where they live. So
Yeah, yeah. They're getting hit rough right now over there in Georgia and Florida. It's sad,
yeah,
sad.
yeah, it is, man. It's but like again, sending nothing but love to all my friends. But getting back into your career, right? So going from track days, which man, who never forgets their first track day, right? You go from a street squid, like you said, 130 miles an hour, riding wheelies, police coming to your house, knocking on your parents' door at 3 o'clock in the morning to check to see if you were there because they knew you ran from them earlier, right? Yeah, that was me. Getting into track days with one of my buddies. Hey man, let's take this to the track. What transition from track to be like, you know what? I want to race. Forget these track day stuff.
Yeah, that first track day I ever did went to Willow Springs. It's like, an hour north of me. It's the closest track. And it was my first track day ever. And I was doing like minute 29s or something, I think it was, on whatever bike I was riding on my eBay tires.
Yeah.
And there was just people like, hey, how long you been riding? I'm like, this is my first time. And they're like, you should race. So I did, the WSMC racer school. I failed it. I crashed. So
That's a
I learned
no-no in a
buying,
school.
yeah, I learned buying tires on eBay is not the best idea. Went the next month and passed it, and then did like their three novice races, and they bump you up to an expert. And I mean, I was hooked when I first raced. I knew I wanted to do it as a career. It was just I had such a late start compared to most people that I raced against. It was like, could I make it? And I wouldn't say I made it for the goals I had, but I made a name for myself, had some success, and it's the part of my life I'll never ever forget. I mean, even my real estate, I built my real estate around my race following. So, I mean, if I look at everything I have, I'm sitting in my office of the company I own. It's all from racing. It's all from racing. So like our community is so important. Like and that's why it's nice doing this racer school. I don't charge for it. It's free with compact octane events to sign up. And it's nice. It's like finally my way to give back to the community that gave me so much. For so many years I was taking. So it's nice to finally give back and, add value to everybody so they can experience the same feelings I did.
Oh, for sure. It's I love to give people happiness and see their smiles, right? I'm the same way. I love to give back, right? That's why I do what I do right here, right now. This is my way of giving back to the
Yeah.
sport
Yeah.
that's given me so much since I was a wee little lad, as my mates across the pond would say, right? It's our circus, again, I call it that all the time, is the
Yeah.
most beautiful thing that you could ever be a part of in this short lifetime, right? Um, it's the people are amazing. The help you get from strangers you never met before. Hey, I need a
Yeah.
sprocket. Oh, just go over there and ask them. I don't know, man. Just go ask. They'll give it to you, right? Whatever it
And
is.
they always do. They've been in the same shoes. It's crazy when I was growing up, doing the AMA stuff, early mid 2000s, it was not like that. There weren't friends. There was so much money on the table. I mean, as a privateer in '07, I cleared like $500,000. So there was so much money on the table that there weren't friends. If you needed a part, you better have a part or you're not going to get the part. But nowadays, there's not a lot of money involved. You go to these club races, you're battling for maybe a couple grand is all. So comparatively to what it was in the past, it's not there. And it's just the camaraderie has like gone up like crazy to where I was out of racing for a few years. And when I came back, I kind of had that mindset like, oh, screw you. And everyone was super friendly and helpful. And so it's been so much nicer since I got back into it. I mean, everybody helps each other. I mean, I'm always there. My pits are open for any and all. And if I have something that I can help you with, it's more than yours. So it's been really nice with the racing lately, just the camaraderie and the support that everyone has for each other. Because, sometimes people go to the track solo. Like that happened to my buddy. He went to a desert race, and I get a call from his wife at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. So I was like, okay, either the house I sold them is screwed up or he's hurt. And sure enough, he was hurt. He crashed really bad, had to get airlifted. And, so me and my buddy Matty drove 2.5 hours, picked up his stuff, brought it home. And now he's all good and back to riding. But yeah, it's like if you don't have that support group, like how are you going to survive in this industry?
You won't. And speaking of back then, dude, those were the golden days. I mean, you touched on this, but before the podcast, right? There was so much money going around and to be made in our sport. That's why it was so cutthroat. Like a lot of my buddies, when I take them to AMA, because I watched it, I've been watching road racing a long time, but I take them and, Matt Mladen. I was always a big fan of Matt Mladen. He was nice, but during the race weekends, like if you showed up on a Thursday, it was different because it was like, hi, yeah, let me get a picture, smile, blah, blah, blah. But during a race weekend, he just want to rip your head off, shit down your throat. It don't matter if he was a fan, a fellow racer, the mechanic. He didn't care, right? He just wanted to win. And I love that about him. You need that determination but now with the money gone and everybody honestly struggling to go racing, yeah, everybody's friendly for sure. But I think even back then, at Club World, every time I went to race or do a track day, everybody was always friendly with me. And this was 99, 2000. Matter of fact, I just recently found my first road race license. The CCS, Chad. I was so happy. I thought I lost her forever. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's old school, man. I didn't even get into racing until '05. That's before my time.
Right, dude. But I have no idea where my other ones are. Right, I'm actually searching and trying to dig it. I'll find them one day, maybe. I don't know. I'm just glad I found this one. So I'm like, yes. I keep it right here. It's special,
That's rad.
But you're right. Things are different. Our times have absolutely changed with road racing in general, whether you starting out or you're at the professional level. It's crazy how times have changed for sure.
Yeah, and there's so much help out there for people getting into it too. It's like, just with our compact octane events, every staff member has raced, every staff member has racing experience, and they're all coaches and staff members. So it's like everyone on the track with you has race experience to like help you get to that next level of your riding, whether it's your first track day, your 100, you're a racer, like I'm out there too helping people. And we provide this at no cost. So it seems like there's so much available and there's so much information online for, new riders or anybody in general that, I mean, if you're smart enough, you can really grasp it, apply it and utilize it yourself rather than, paying all this money for coaching and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of places that offer this free coaching now when you sign up for their days. So there's just so much available compared to what it was. I mean, back then I can remember, I didn't get along with the guys I was racing against. Like I can remember Robert Jensen. He's actually the one that made me fast. Robert Jensen was a Suzuki bounty hunter and was always the number one. And I kind of watched him, from the sidelines and saw what he did. And in 06, 07, I kind of did what he did. And in 07, I was the top Suzuki bounty hunter. So he didn't like me that year. So it's different now. Like I'm going to race the CVMA season coming up. Our first race is in like a week or two. And, there's going to be like Corey Alexander out there. I'm sure Michael Gilbert's going to line up. David Anthony usually shows up. There's Bradley Ward. I've done CVMA where there's 14, 15 guys that have all won Moto America, and we're all lined up at a club race. But the cool thing is after we're all buddies, but if this was, early mid 2000s, there's no friends. So it's cool. Even like, I had to have my back fused last year and Corey Alexander suffered with some back stuff. So we were talking last year before my surgery as to what he did. And it's just it still baffles me, because if this was 20 years ago, you're not getting that kind of support. So even Corey Alexander kind of helped me make a decision on what back surgery to do. So it's like we were saying, the camaraderie, the community, it's second to none. I mean, I'm involved with hockey with kids and stuff. A lot of my friends' kids play hockey. I grew up playing hockey, and there's a lot of camaraderie, but it's more parent based. Where this is really like the rider base. Doesn't matter how old you are. There's 14-year-olds that are helping me out at times. When I'm at the cart tracks and the 14-year-old's smoking me, I'm like, hey, how are you doing that? So it's been nice. It's nice.
It's always, that's a big slice of humble pie right there, right? Because you show up, you're like, yeah, I got these kids, right? No, absolutely not. They come by you on the outside, you're like, wait a minute, do I
Yeah,
even know how to
I
ride?
know I got some skill. I know I can go fast, but man, some of these kids coming up, they just have, certain talent and skills and techniques that I didn't learn. And so when I
Yeah.
see I don't care who you are, if I see someone doing something that interests me, I want to learn. And yeah, I was helping this 10-year-old kid at the kart track a couple months ago, and man, he's fast. Like, I think he could make it if he gets over to Europe soon enough. But I think his best lap ever was like a 45 second, and mine around there is like a 42 on a volley, and got him down to the 43s, to where I was tongue out, the helmet, just trying to keep up. And he's like, thanks for pushing me. I'm like, no, dude, I was behind you going as fast as I could go. That was all I had. So these kids are just so good, so good. And, like, I didn't get a chance to really go over to Europe and maybe have a chance. It's really difficult for Americans. And so it's really cool with a lot of these programs you're seeing now roll out, where these kids are getting the opportunity to go overseas, get their feet wet, get the proper coaching and technique skills that they need to thrive in that environment over there. And I really want to be a part of that. I want to see a kid make it from America, and it's like I can live vicariously through them. I didn't. I never had the shot, so it's cool trying to work and help and push other kids to get the shot that I didn't get.
Oh, 110%. I agree. We definitely need more Americans. We need them in BSB, World Superbike, MotoGP,
Everywhere.
Moto3, Moto2. We need us everywhere. We have some out there, right? Of course, Joe Roberts, we got Jillian
Does a
Carrera in the
great
British
job.
Talent Cup, Kristen Daniel Jr. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some of us out there, but we need more, right? And I see that. Man, this is a whole nother topic. But as far as getting our kids out there, Chad, this is the issue I see with us Americans, right? Because we're such a production-based racing organization. Okay, I feel like if we're going to do that, we need to have a structure set up like the Spanish and the Italians got. We need to have
Mhm.
a, ovale, and then go to the NSF 125, then the 250, and then make it that way versus. And that's my big issue with the new Talent Cup at taking over Junior Cup, right?
Mhm.
In Moto America. I see it, I get it, I understand it, but you have kids coming from pretty much production bikes unless they have a Ovale and they stay on it. Okay. Um, then they go to the Talent Cup, and after that, they have a shot at Red Bull, but let's just say it don't work out, because 99% of the kids that's going to go over there, let's just be honest, it's not going to work out, right? It's that slim, just like making it to MotoGP. It's that slim pickings. And then
Yep.
you come back, and now what? It's all production bike racing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the hard thing is like, our tracks just don't match up to what they have in Europe. Unfortunately, we just don't have tracks like that at all. I mean, in my opinion, we don't have a single one. I've not been to Coda myself, but just talking to riders that have been to Coda, it's not like it is in Europe. I mean, especially when all the riders are complaining when they're here in MotoGP about the track. But the problem, I think, is like, these kids have the talent, have the skill, have the motivation and the want, but they didn't grow up on those tracks. And then when they go to these tryouts, you get 2 days to try out for the Red Bull Rookie Cup. They're learning the track, they're learning the bike. Meanwhile, these European kids have been on these tracks and bikes since they were born. So it's a huge disadvantage. And it's like, sadly, if you're American and you don't get over to Europe at a young age to get acclimated to it, it's like you're not going to really make it. I mean, Joe Roberts has done a great job, going over there at a little bit of an older age, but even he was back there with Rookies Cup and stuff in the past, so he had some time. Same with Bobier. Bobier had done Rookies Cup, and I wish Bobier would have stayed. I felt like he was a good shot for us, but I get it. He had a kid, he's getting older. He's looking at life differently. And as I'm 39, I can relate and understand that. But it sucked Joe didn't get that Trackhouse ride. I feel like that's his only GP shot, MotoGP. And I think he kind of feels it too. You kind of saw his results slip a little bit during that time where he probably knew he didn't get it. And it's like, but being in Moto 2 is like, I wish I was in Moto 2. So, it's pretty cool and he's doing good. He's winning races, but how long is it going to last having a career in Moto 2? And then, like you said, he's going to come back to America. He's still young. I think he's 27 or something.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back and just race production bikes like SDK's doing. And
Yep.
which, by the way, I'm kind of glad SDK came because the last few races were pretty rad watching. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. And Jeremy Toy's a cool guy. We grew up racing, so like, yeah, I'm a big Toy supporter. He's really good at what he does, and seems like a good setup with him and SDK.
Oh, 110%. I'm happy to have SDK back and Bobier, right? I mean, and it's always easy too, Chad, for somebody growing up on stiff chassis is what I call them, GP chassis,
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
want to call them, to grow doing that and then get on a production bike. They just transition like it's nothing, right? Versus us, we're production, and we jump on a GP chassis, we're just fucking lost because the same feelings and inputs we put on that soft bike don't get the same feelings as a GP chassis, and you're just beating your head against the wall no matter what, right? It's yeah, man, it's a difficult thing, right?
yeah. I actually
Hopefully,
got to ride a Moto 2 bike. It was the 2009 prototype chassis that they used before the 2010 season when they went to the Moto 2 format they have. Yeah, I rode it like a month ago at Sonoma, and it just had like a stock R6 engine, stock R6 fork, so like suspension wasn't great, but the chassis was rad. I mean, yeah, I only got to ride it like a 10-minute, 15-minute session, but man, it was a different. It reminded me a lot of my Aprilia. The Aprilia is a very stiff chassis comparatively to what we have out here. That's why I love the Aprilia. I'm a little guy, 5'6", so I put a lot of bar input as needed. And these, production bikes, like I've been racing this Kawasaki 400 twin for my buddy in Compact Octane to just kind of help promote. And it's a freaking noodle. It's got great front feel. You can push and just load that front, but you feel the whole thing, flexing and snapping and fighting you. And the Aprilia doesn't do that so much. I really like the Aprilia, and that Moto 2 chassis was the same. It didn't like fight back or flex, when you put those little inputs in, it like just kept going. I was waiting for that snap or something on production bikes, but I didn't get it. So yeah, just that 10 minutes I had on it was like kind of, so it'd be cool to spend like a couple days on one and see what you could do.
oh, absolutely, man. They're such beautiful machines too. I mean, the chassis they're proper wide. You're like, holy shit, you don't realize how beefy those chassis are until you see one in real life.
Yeah, but they're so narrow and like,
Yeah,
I love the lightweight bikes because I feel like Scott Redding on it. I can get over the front, I can move around. And I got on that Moto 2 bike and I was like, I feel like I'm on a little lightweight bike, but I had, 600 power. So yeah,
right.
you feel a little spoiled on it.
Yeah, the facts, right? Actually, that tank shroud right here, that's actually Alex Marquez's Mark VDS Moto 2
Oh,
tank shroud right off his bike
rad.
sign.
That's rad.
So in that tank, you're right. The shroud's literally like it's the tank, the
Yeah,
width.
super
It's
narrow. Like
yeah,
I like small seats, small narrow seats with like kind of a half dome shape. And most of our production bikes have this freaking Harley style flat seat that I can't get around. I'm like, what do I do? So yeah, it's just they're so different. So it's like I see why us Americans struggle in the beginning getting out there. You're dealing with people that have since they were born on that stuff.
yeah, 110%. And we got a comment by Bobby. Bobby Von Neeson says, "Go Chris."
The true
And then
legend, the true legend.
right? Bobby is a legend. He says, "Chris, I hope Rossi didn't hear that," with a bunch of laughing emojis. Now he's in there probably playing Fortnite, right? Because yeah, my son's name is Hayden Rossi. I named it after obviously
Okay,
Gabe
all right.
and Valentino. He's my everything, of course. He when he was born, I had the aspirations, dude. He's gonna be at least world superbike level, right? At least all this. Played him all these videos while my wife was pregnant with the headphones because I'd record them. You remember when you can burn
Have him
CDs, right?
listening in the womb to the
Dude,
engine sound.
listening to dude, just straight up, right?
I do the
Bottom of,
same thing.
bottom of TTR before he was even born. No interest. Then I started taking him to Moto America. We're good friends with Yandel Medea, of course, and all my friends in Moto America. And Yondel's always got this little CRF50, and Rossi runs straight to it, jumps on it, and finally in Jersey, he's like, "Dad, will you buy me another dirt bike? I promise I'll ride it." So for
You were
Christmas,
like, yes.
he's getting yes. You just don't know how good you just made your daddy happy right now, right? Yeah. Ain't nothing like it, man. It's not, man. And that bond. And speaking of, you're married with children too, correct?
No, no. So not married. I was married, not married anymore. No kids. I have two dogs. Like my kids, I have a border collie and a little chihuahua. Anyone that sees me at the track knows my dogs. They go everywhere with me. But no kids. Maybe one day. But maybe you got to meet Mrs. Right first. Work on that first, and then see about pumping out a kid or two. But if I did, yeah, my kid would have every opportunity to make it. But he'd have to show some talent for me to, cough it up. So yeah, it'd be cool if maybe I have a kid one day and yeah, see what he does. But if he wants to do figure skating, I'm cool. But just whatever you do, apply yourself 110%. Be good at it.
I agree. I can't agree more. Speaking of dogs, dude, I'm a huge dog lover. My dog is always in here with me. There she is, right here. She's always laying down. So
I have
yeah,
my
she's
little guy right here, and my Stiggy, my border collie's out there playing with everybody. I bring him to the
love it.
office with me all the time.
I love it, man. I love it. I tell everybody, Chad, that if everybody in the world had a dog, you'd be so much more happier. The place would be just so the world would be happier for sure.
I got two, so I'm a happy guy. Happy guy.
Right. And a happy guy's a fast guy, is a smooth guy, right? Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, I
man.
ain't gonna lie. Like it's nice still being fast on a motorcycle. It's like who I am. If I, I'm gonna slow down at some point. Like I'm, I would say I'm not any slower or faster than I used to be, and I'm only gonna get slower. Bikes and technology, tires makes me faster. But it's like who I am. If I'm not fast on a bike, I don't know who I would be. I'd have to go find myself.
Yeah, if dude, imagine the world without motorcycles. What a sad dude, bro. There's no way, right? Like even if God forbid anything happened, if I lost a leg or arm or whatever, I would still ride. I don't care what nobody said.
Oh
Nope,
yeah.
I need it. I got to. Like this is who I am. If I didn't have it, you might as well just put me down like a dog.
I had
Bury
my
me in the
back fused
backyard.
last year, so I had my disc 12 millimeters into my nerve, and apparently I had a small nerve canal, and I couldn't use my legs for like a couple months, and so the doctors were like, "Well, if you want to go back to riding bicycles and motorcycles and probably crashing again, they're like, you have to fuse your back," and I'm like, "Book it." Worst surgery ever. If anyone has a back issue, don't do anything. Call me. I have all the information about what back surgery options and surgeons, but miserable surgery. They go in through the front, take your stomach out, move everything, and then drill tap and fuse your vertebrae in your back. So it sucked. But on the other side, I'm still healing. It's like 2 years to heal. I'm riding again. I feel fast again. It's just having to adapt and move your body a little bit different. I can't run. There's just things to adapt
Yeah.
to. But back to normal. I can go ride. I can go crash. I hope I don't crash, but I can if I need to.
Right. And then, that obviously there's dude, we're almost 30 minutes in this. I told you this could go by super
Crazy.
fast, right? Yeah, I know. But again, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. There's gonna be part two, part three, whatever. I gotta talk about Max Biaggi real quick, bro. What was it like hanging out with the legend Max Biaggi? Because I gotta be honest, back when I was growing up, I watched Wayne Rainey and Mick Doohan, and here comes Rossi, right? My infatuation with this little kid, bright yellow, making just all this crazy shit you never seen, and then he moves up, and him and Biaggi just
Yeah, yeah.
Flash and all this stuff. So when I was growing up, I really didn't like Max Biaggi because I was such a diehard Valentino Rossi fan, right? But once Rossi retired, my whole mentality changed. Like I respect a lot of the riders and what they did and all the hard work and determination because people don't understand the sacrifice that you got to give to this sport to make it. They don't, you know. But knowing that and looking back, I feel like kind of like an idiot that I was like that. You know what I mean? But he's an absolute legend of the sport, and I couldn't imagine meeting him and actually riding with the guy, bro. You got to tell me that experience.
Yeah, I had the luxury of meeting him last year. So he has a place out here that he comes out, a couple months out of the year, hang out, change the scenery, get some riding in because he doesn't get to ride much throughout the year because he's so busy traveling and everything. So we have a mutual friend, and he needed some help with his house. I kind of know about houses. So they called me up. I literally went to his house. Ended up being there for like 5 hours. we talked about the house for like 15, 20 minutes. And the next thing I know, I'm like holding the MotoGP trophy. You know, I'm just like nerding out on all of it. He was the coolest guy. I mean, I don't go to listing appointments or anything and hang out for 5 hours. But we just talked shop, bikes, girls, you know, drama. Obviously, I had a lot of questions because he got to a level that I only dreamed of. And he was the coolest, most down to earth guy. Like, he's just one of us. He just loves bikes. He's a bike nerd. So then I didn't get to ride with him because I was, you know, not long after my back surgery. So I just went and just hung out as a fanboy. And then we kept in touch. So he was out recently again for a few months during the summer, and I can ride. So, you know, people were telling him, hey, go ride with Chad. Chad can ride. So I didn't have a supermoto. I had the Ovale, and he was on his supermoto. So we went out to the kart track a couple days, had tons of fun, you know, had some battles, hitting each other. And then we went out to Buttonwillow. I was on my R6 and he was on an RSV4. And man, did we have fun. We shared a garage, just hung out, you know, just rode. And just, I had that guy's poster on my wall growing up, you know. So like it was surreal that I was, you know, following and videoing Max Biaggi, like just for fun, you know, just hanging out on the track. But he's the coolest guy. You wouldn't think you're talking to someone of his level, you know, Max Biaggi, but he just loves bikes. He's super down to earth. I just had this Aprilia built to go race CVMA, and this bike sat for like 4 years, so it has some bugs to work out. But I went and rode it Saturday or Sunday at Chuckwalla, drove 4 hours, 3 a.m., did 5 laps, had a bike issue, and drove home. But you know, I kind of went with the settings that I do on other production bikes. You know, I like a long wheelbase, make the bike stable, makes it hard to turn, but I can force it. Well, that was the worst handling 1000 I've ever rode. So I called Max on my way home, and it's like 9, 10 hours ahead, and he answers. And I was like, this bike sucks. I'm like, what do I got to do to it? So he's making calls to, you know, some of the CIV teams in Italy and getting some numbers for me. So it's like he's going to be a supporter of me on Aprilia. He's an Aprilia brand ambassador, and he wants to see them raced in America. I want to see them raced in America. I love the platform, the bike in stock form. So we're going to go out to Buttonwillow on Monday, try some of Max's settings. They're way different than mine. I had the wheelbase 600. We're going to 560. We're going from like 9.0 springs to like 1.0 springs. We're moving some of the pivots. I mean, I was so far off. So again, going back to like a stiff chassis, you know, I did what I know on a noodle chassis with the production Jap bikes, and this is a whole different beast. And Max was just totally down. He's like, let me make some calls. I got this. So I suck in an Italian accent, but yeah. he's just a down to earth guy, wants to see people have fun on bikes. You know, he just wants to see everyone have a good time around him. And he's just a solid guy. I mean, I wish he lived out here full time. I was actually supposed to go to Valencia, Spain. He invited me. I was going to fly to Milan, Italy, hop on a private jet to the track, and then fly out the day after the race ended to get back to work. But I had to cancel it because work's too crazy. So maybe I'll go to Mazzano in May. He invited me again, do an Aprilia ride day, and just go hang out on that side of the world and, you know, meet all the GP guys. Maybe I'll sell them real estate. They all have houses out here. And so, yeah, it's he's just been a great guy to get to know, and he's got some great stories. You know, he's all into skiing now. He's big into skiing. So he's a solid guy. Everyone should get to know him. He's just one of those guys.
He speaks good English too, right?
Yeah, very good. Like he'll say like, "Oh, my English." I'm like, "Dude, your English is better than most of the dates I go on." So it's like he's it's very fluent, very easy to understand. He's got good English, great English, thick accent, but good English.
Yeah, he's absolute man. He's always a person I wanted to meet, man. Like I said, I regretted the way I was, and I viewed certain people in that rivalry. But that's what this sport will do. It's like hockey and baseball and all that. You like a certain team and a certain dude, and that's you're willing to do whatever it takes to stick up for them, right? But I guess as you got older and you just, I guess, get more mature. Is that an adult word anymore? Mature?
You know, it's funny you say that. I've been reading a lot of books and like some on emotional intelligence, because it's like, you know, with my work and profession and everything, I'm very mature, very professional. With my personal life, it's like I never grew up. And I've come to realize, you know, kind of self-diagnosing. I grew up at the racetrack around a bunch of no offense, everybody, because I'm one of you too, Neanderthals. It's an extended frat house. And it's like you don't develop that, emotional maturity and like kind of like personal maturity. So I've kind of like taken a route to try to understand more, but we're just out there having fun. It's like it's our release. It's most of the people doing it now have a regular 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, and this is therapy. Like I was so mad on Sunday, not about the 8 hours of driving or the 2 hours of sleep, but like I didn't have my therapy that day. I rode for 5 laps on a bike I didn't enjoy. So it's like I feel like I didn't get my fix, like my therapy. So hopped on my bicycle and suffered for a couple hours instead. But yeah, it's like it's something we all need. We're all a screw or two loose.
And dude, that's the worst defeat ever. When you show up, do a track day, and shit just nothing works, and you're like, you know what? I'm just going home. It's not the journey. Again, the journey's awesome, right? The journey on the way home on that journey's you're in the stuff, right? It's not so good. But
on the way home, calling people
road rage like you never had before. You're like,
yeah, doing 90 in the cargo van.
Right, don't care. Yeah, it's like whatever, dude. Get out of my way, dude. Yeah,
Yeah. I was that guy on Sunday.
Yeah, I've been there many times myself, right? It's but again, man, it just shows how passionate you are in love for this sport, because there's nothing like that release, right? You don't get that. It's like I love to do an ice bath. I'm big into ice baths. I like to do an ice bath, and nothing like I go, man, I had an ice bath in like 2 weeks, and like my body is just fiending for it, right? Kind of like motorcycles. You don't ride, you're like, dude, I just gotta ride. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. Give me a CRF 50. Let me ride, right? It don't matter. I just want to ride. It's that again, release, euphoria release that you don't get from anywhere else.
No, it's true. It's true. Like, we're lucky. I have a CF Moto 450 SS in my garage to kind of putt around on the street, and we ride them at the compact octane events. And I've done a couple street rides over the last month or so, which is very scary in LA, by the way. But it's still a little bit of a release. Just the wind, the open air. You look up, there's not a roof above you. It's like it's like a sense of freedom. Not like the racetrack. The racetrack's like not a sense of freedom. It's like sense of release, like we talked about. But man, I'm just bike obsessed. Like bicycle, motorcycle, freaking 2 unicycles. Just give me 2 wheels.
Facts, dude. I can't. Again, I can't disagree. Everything you said so true. It's yeah, man. Thinking about it, talking about it makes. I just want to go ride now, right? Like, yeah, facts.
Oh, I can't wait for Monday. My
Bro,
poor buddy Fuzzy Michael Castro. We call him Fuzzy with Fuzzy Moto. He's
I
got
know
my
Fuzzy.
Aprilia right now. Yeah, he's got my Aprilia right now, kind of going through it. Like Gary Dean, Speedy Motorcycles, built it, does all my bikes. He's in Vegas though, so it's hard to make quick trips out there. So luckily, I got a great mechanic in Fuzzy that's close by, just like a half hour away. And yeah, so he's kind of helping me get the bike all sorted, settled, and settings, and then he's gonna bring it out Monday. I'll meet him there at the track, and then we'll shake it down. And fingers crossed, it's good, because the next weekend we're racing. So I don't want to suck. I hope I can give Corey and all those boys a bit of a run, at least keep them in sight for a bit, and then we'll progress as the season goes, and I get more acclimated to riding 200 horsepower again.
Right? Yeah, it's always a jump going from a 600 liter bike. It's like holy shit. Yeah, it's because you ride it different. You know that any bike you get on requires its own riding style. You got to adapt what you normally do on your home bike versus another bike, because you got to adapt to the bike. It always made it simpler for me if I adapted myself to the bike, whether they're trying to make the bike adapt itself to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been really lucky, like since I started riding again after my back surgery, working with the compact octane guys. Chuck Graves is there with all of his ZX4RRs, so I've gotten to rip around on Chuck's bike a bit. Chuck's just like 20 minutes from me, so we get dinners and stuff. He's actually a really cool guy. Didn't like him when I raced because he wouldn't give me a ride. But as I get older, I see why, and he's a great guy. I love it. It's business first. I love it. But I've got to ride like the ZX4RRs, the CF Motos. I've been racing that Cowie 400, broke a couple track records, racing against like Alex George, who makes it super fun. Dude puts me to my limit. And it's actually my friend Maddie's girlfriend's bike, so I got to be careful with it. But it's been nice because I've been riding so many different bikes over the last few months. I've kind of learned how to adapt to the bike and not adapt the bike to me. So yeah, it's this Aprilia is a different experience. It's new. It's obviously fast. definitely with like, going from a 400 to a 1000, your lines are different, your braking points, your throttle points, your turn-in points, just, you got to stay a little bit further ahead of the bike. It's like I tell people, they're like, how do you go so fast? I'm like, I'm looking so far ahead, I can't get there fast enough. And on the little bikes, it's really easy to stay ahead of the bike because, they go like 110 or 20 on the straightaway max. But then when you're doing 200 on the straightaway, it's coming quick. Just look ahead, stay ahead of the bike. If you stay ahead of the bike, you can't get there fast enough. So luckily, I've kind of adapted of how to put a bike to its limit relatively quick.
That's awesome, man. Speaking of Fuzzy, dude, what a character. I love Fuzzy. Yeah. Every time I go to Moto America, we chat. Obviously, we compliment. I mean, on Facebook and all that good stuff. He, I've been trying to get him on this podcast. I'm like, Fuzzy. So if you listen to this,
busy. He's
bro, I know
busy,
he is. That's what he tells me. He's like, I want to. I do. I was like, dude, well, you always got a spot. You just let me know when you're ready. I get you on here.
Oh, he'd be so good at this too. He's
I know he would.
Funny guy.
Yes,
Me and
he
Fuzzy
is.
got some stories.
I bet you do, right?
Yeah.
I love it when he says most gooder. I'm like, yeah, dude,
Yeah,
it's most
yeah.
gooder. Yeah.
More
I love it.
rebound. That's the
Yeah,
solution
more
for everything.
rebound,
More rebound.
everything, right? Yeah.
There's a
right,
new one
right.
we got: kickstand corner speed for all those slow pokes on the track.
Kickstand corner speed. That's a good one.
Yeah, just say that when next time you see him and see his reaction.
I would kickstand corner speed. I'm gonna message him that, dude. I'd be like, bro, tell me all about this kickstand corner speed you got going on.
Yeah,
That,
and you know what you should do is get Fuzzy's recipe for his pork belly. Oh,
I bet. I know.
Fuzzy's a really, really good cook, really good barbecuing, and yeah, we go over there for lunches or dinners, and he makes this pork belly that's just ridiculous. I love pork. Jewish again, great Jew, but yeah, Fuzzy can cook.
I love it, dude. I love it. Chad, you're an absolute legend, dude. I've had so much fun on this, dude. We're like 40, almost 42 minutes in this. Man, I feel like me and you could sit down and do at least a 2-hour podcast for sure.
Yeah, man, whenever you want me back, I had fun. This is yeah, I love talking about bikes. So it's yeah, anytime you want me on here, you just let me know. I'm down.
Oh, dude, listen, when I end this podcast, you stay on with me for a minute. We'll go ahead and schedule part 2.
All right.
But before we get into all that, man, I want to get in my transition into my favorite part of the interview. We get to know Chad Lewin on a more personal level, not the absolute legend you are. And one thing we really didn't touch on real quick, I want to, before I transition into all the personal questions, tell us your job, tell us your company, how people can find you. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so I got my real estate license back in 2007. Kind of been very fortunate to kind of market it through my racing and use my connections to the racetrack. And so I mainly sell to motorcycle people, which has been really fun because we'll go to the racetrack for appointments. Like, how can you beat that? But yeah, no, I own the Home Pros real estate brokerage based out of California. I own CA Escrow Pros, independent escrow company based out of California. We're licensed in California, can help anyone. I've helped all the way up to Sacramento, down to San Diego, and I'm based in Los Angeles. But no, it's been great. I flip houses, I sell houses, I've done hard money loans, I've had to foreclose on homes, I've had to evict people. So I'm basically in real estate's the easiest way to say it. So it's like anyone that needs help in California with anything, like maybe you have a tenant that won't leave. I got people for that. Or, because obviously being a landlord in California is not too great. They don't make it too favorable for landlords. But yeah, so it's just, need to buy a house, sell a house. I have a big team. There's I have videographers, photographers, assistants, document prep people. We have escrow. So, working with me is just a little bit of a higher level of service because of obviously the experience that I have. Most people that are in real estate just stick to selling homes, which is perfectly fine. It's a very advantageous career. I just wanted more, so I wanted to own companies and manage more and have more on my plate. And the house flipping has been really great for me. I got some great investors that fund the projects. We've had some really good products that were sold. So it's been fun. And I'm not going to lie, real estate's not as dangerous as racing, but if you like risk, it's a risky career because there's nothing guaranteed. It's all about what you can bring in and what you can do. So I've liked it because it's really a challenge for myself, just like racing. It's a major challenge having to come up with, new ideas, new content when there's industry changes like we've had recently with the buyer agent commissions. That's been a big change. I think it's got to change a little bit more it doesn't work quite well the way it is. But, again, having to adapt to your tires going off, mid race, it's the same thing. I'm just adapting to what I have to adapt to. So it's been great. But if anyone needs to get a hold of me, It's my first last name, re.com, chadlewinre.com. Go on my social media, Realtor Lewin on Instagram, and all my info's there. You can't miss it. I keep it exposed, so you hopefully call me. But yeah, really, it's that's what pays the bills. And if I don't sell houses, I can't race motorcycles. So they go hand in hand. So just like I try to support, people within the industry that are contractors that race, or financial advisors or lenders, I try to support and feed, my friends and track family as they do to me. So yeah, we all stick together, and I know how important it is for people to have money for tires. So hire me.
Boom, there it is. And if not people, he'll send Max Biaggi after you. You don't want to be evicted by Max Biaggi. Trust me.
You don't want the Italian stallion come after you. Yeah. He's in my corner, so be good and call me.
You will be in trouble. Very, very big trouble, right? Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Well, listen, let's transition into this, man. And the first question I have for you is, are you a coffee drinker?
No. I try to limit it to two a day. I don't survive without it. I'm up at like 4:30 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. It's like my internal clock. Wake up to coffee, kind of usually jump on the computer, knock out an hour or two of work, whatever I gotta do. Once I'm done with my coffee, workout, and then I'm usually on coffee number 2 after my workout. And then I'm usually hustling, bustling around houses or in the office, working on hustling, bustling. So that's kind of my days. But I always try to get on the bicycle or do a good hit workout, 6 days a week religiously. I love that. If I don't have, that's a big release for me. If I don't have some type of suffering, riding a motorcycle, suffering with your tongue out there, a gnarly hit workout, you're dying, or on my bicycle, it's hard to continue the hustle and the grind and be motivated. So really just a physical exertion of suffering for me really keeps me sharp, keeps me motivated, keeps me happy, keeps me calm. I'm someone people know, like, I'm wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm a passionate person. But yeah, it's all things I've learned about myself that keeps me calm and motivated and just a better person overall, I feel like.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I'm a coffee drinker too, but yeah, dude, good stuff, man.
Two,
So
two, two a day.
usually just one in the morning time, and if I'm like feeling it, yeah, I'll drink a second one. But my second one's usually always cold.
Oh, really? I like
Yeah,
hot. I don't know why I like
yeah,
hot coffee.
yeah. I like cold too. I like in the morning time it's cold. I mean warm, and then if I have one in the afternoon or whatever, it's got to be cold. I
I'm
don't know
that
what it
weird
is.
guy. It's 110 degrees outside, and I have a hot coffee just sweating.
Well, I love soup. It'll be 90 degrees out here in Virginia, and I'm eating chicken noodle soup. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Eating
Ugh.
chicken noodle soup. What's wrong?"
And when
Yeah,
it's 90 degrees, it's like 80% humidity. I lived in Loganville, Georgia for a year. So like I remember, yeah. Lived in
yeah,
Kentucky, Loganville, Georgia, and West Virginia for like a year each.
yeah. So
I don't
yeah,
miss that weather.
absolutely.
I don't envy you guys with
Yeah,
that.
well, right now it's getting beautiful. So in the morning time it's like 50s, afternoons
Very
it's like
nice.
72. So it's absolutely perfect. Um, well, let me ask you this and tell us something we don't know about Chad Lewin.
Something people don't know about me. Um, it's a great question. I feel like I'm super transparent where everyone knows everything, but um, I actually am intimidated by big crowds, which you'd find it funny because when I'm at the track, there's usually I'm in a big crowd. But yeah, I'm actually a bit intimidated with big crowds. I'm better on like an intimate setting of a couple people. I'll put on an act and be extroverted, but really I just want to go inside and like just curl up into a ball. So yeah, big crowds. I don't like concerts or clubs. I'm really like an old man. I'm 39, but I'm really like I'm 70.
Oh, I love it. But you're right, because I think part of that too is when you're at the racetrack, you're with family. You're not with
Yeah, it makes me
strangers.
feel like the big crowd. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. So, but I'm like, I feel that way too. Like, I love everybody, and I could stand on a stage and talk to a million people I never even met before. Like, I'm comfortable in that situation, but being amongst people, especially thousands of them, I really don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely a bit uncomfortable with that too, as well. It's just, I
Yeah,
don't know
I'll be
what it
that
is.
awkward guy in the corner. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with him?"
I get like that too, man. It's, yeah. My wife's like, dude, this is not you. I'm like, I don't know none of these people. And it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a big vibe person, you know what I'm saying? So I
yeah,
feel the energy and stuff, and you can usually spot another motorcyclist. And I'm like, I don't see
yeah,
too many
right.
motorcyclists around here, right? Like I'm definitely out of my element right now.
Oh man,
Take
when
me
I go
to
to
the
like
track.
friends I grew up with, when I go to parties, they're not into bikes or anything. You know, they're all talking football, baseball, and I'm like, so Mark Marquez, crashed in qualifying.
Right? That's
Anybody's
all. It's exactly.
yeah.
They're like, dude, did you watch the college game? I'm like, what college game? They're like, bro, you don't watch sports? I'm like, motorcycle racing. What are you talking about? That's
I
all that
know.
exists to me.
I had a client's housewarming party last week, and I was there for like a few hours. They had like college football on. It was on a Saturday, and they're like, "What team do you go for?" And I'm like, "I don't know anything about this. I know they throw a ball around for about an hour. I've never just followed it really. I'm just racing and hockey. I know about hockey and racing, and that's like it."
Yeah, well, I'm a soccer nerd, so I do watch
Okay.
soccer, as people know. I love soccer. It's a great sport as well. Well, let me ask you this then: what's your worst habit?
Ooh, my worst habit. Um, my worst habit, aside from coffee. um, it's gonna sound stupid, but I fall asleep on my couch every day, and I wake up in so much pain every time. And I tell myself every day I'm not gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it again tonight. I wish I could change that, because especially with all my fusions and metal in me, it's like, I don't stretch enough. Yeah, I wish I could change that, but I fall asleep on my couch every day for like an hour or two, and then like zombie to bed.
Get up and feel like Mike Tyson done beat you up. You're like, oh my god, dude, this sucks.
Oh,
It's like, listen. So we got my son. Well, he's 11 now. I forget what age, like 4. We bought him his trampoline, right? We still got it out back, and I'm talking shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, let me show you these back flips and these front flips, and I'm out there, dude, just going straight ham like I'm 12. Dude, bro, I wake up the next day, man. I felt like I straight was in this UFC fight with Conor McGregor and was just all out of sorts. Went to go roll over, and I was like, oh, I can't move. You got to help me get out of bed. She's like, you old man. I'm like, I'm not an old man. And she's like, you're a big wussy. I was like, well, it's just my body telling me that I need to exercise more, and then I can get back
yeah.
into doing it. That's all, because it's not used to doing that anymore, especially jumping on a trampoline. That's actually a workout too.
That sounds painful
Facts.
to me. I mean, I know this
Bro.
CVMA race weekend coming up. I'm gonna be in so much pain the following 2 days. Like, that's the part I'm not looking forward to. Like, I do get sore, and I work out all the
Yeah.
time, but I don't ride enough, and it's like I'm gonna be miserable for 48 hours following that weekend. Just I'll be dehydrated. I'm gonna have no energy. I'm gonna be sore, walking funny. Probably gonna have to carry me up and down the stairs. But I can't wait. I can't wait.
That's what we call enjoying the suck right there, people. That's
Yeah.
exactly what that is. It's an enjoyable suffering, and people won't understand that. It's weird to even say that you enjoy the suffer, but you do, right? Because all you think about, no matter how bad it hurts, is I can't wait till the next time to get back out there.
Yeah, and like
So yeah.
I've been knocked out quite a few times, and when I've woken up in no pain, it's the scariest thing. It really is
Oh, I
scary.
bet.
When I wake up in pain, I know I'm alive. I know I'm okay. So I'm really weird. Like if I'm having a bad day, I want pain. It's kind of how I ended up with this hand tattoo. We won't talk about that one though. But I'll hop on my bicycle or go to the gym or something and just go suffer. Just go be in pain for an hour, and I just feel so much more alive. So yeah, I'm really weird. Pain kind of gets me out of a funk. I like pain.
It's when you feel the most alive, in my opinion.
It is like I can remember. It was like I think it was '07 or '08. I was out for a few days, and when I woke up, I didn't hurt anything, and not a scratch on me. I just whacked my head really bad. And when I woke up in the hospital, it was the scariest thing. When I woke up, and I just remember like kind of starting to see, and before I could see everything, I could feel, and I didn't feel pain. I just thought I was dead. So yeah, I think my sister has a video of it, and it's me just freaking out, arguing her that I'm dead, and she's like, "Chad, you're not dead."
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
How do you know? You're not
I'm
me.
freaking her out. I'm like, F you, you don't effing know. I'm effing dead. I saw mom and dad. Like, so yeah,
Oh
it's
man, I love it.
pain's a reminder you're alive.
Facts. It's a big fact, dude. I love it. I love it. Everybody knows, dude, I'm a huge audiobook listener too. I read books, but it's just shop manuals, right? Well, for motorcycles. Other than that, I listen to audiobooks a lot. Is that something you do too as well?
I kind of started over the last like 2, 3 months. I was always kind of against it. But I was actually dating somebody that didn't like me back. And so I started reading some books as to like what or why. And she was actually the one that kind of like got me onto it. So I've actually really enjoyed it. I've probably gone through like 10, 11 books in the past couple months. So yeah, I'm big on it about self-development books. I'm a big overthinker. Like I'm reading one now. I'm reading an Audible book. I'm listening to an Audible book now, The Laws of Human Nature. Never Split the Difference about negotiating. Listen to like about attachment styles, things you never learned growing up at the racetrack. I didn't know people had different attachment styles. I thought everyone was supposed to be like me. So no, the Audible books have been great. This is a great one for people in sports, racing, any sport. Mind, like your mind, and gym, like you're going to the gym. When I rode for Mean Motorsports, Amin was the one that kind of recommended it because he knew I was a head case and he wanted me to win. So I read that book probably 10 different times. Great book. Some words from people like Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth, and people, just of their thought process and perspective of how to, get to where they were, and, kind of cancel out all the negative thoughts that kind of keep you from performing at your peak. So yeah, anyone in any sport, highly recommend Mind Gym. It'll
Yeah,
help you keep you motivated and have positive thoughts, not negative thoughts leading up to your competition.
I love it. I wrote that down. Another good one too, speaking on the motivational and how to get over, because our game's such a mental game, life is, but
Yeah.
motorcycles really, right? So David Goggins, I know you know who David Goggins is. Have
Yeah.
you listened to his audiobook?
I
He's
haven't,
actually
but
got
I know
two
the
of them.
name. I
Oh,
know the
bro,
name,
dude,
but I haven't listened to it.
you got to listen to it. His first one is absolutely phenomenal. It's really cool the way he does it too. It's different because the guy will read the book. I mean, read a chapter, and at the end of the chapter, David Goggin comes on with the guy that just read it, and then David breaks it down and talks about it. So you get a real in depth, of in his words of what happened, which is cool. That I love stuff like that too, right? And of course, I'm a motorcycle nerd. So I listen to any motorcycle racer out there. It's got an audiobook. This guy's got it right here on my iPhone, right?
Yeah, right.
And dude, the best one, it was John Hopkins, Leathered. You got
I
to
haven't I
listen to that
haven't
book,
listened to that. I've heard
bro.
good
You
things
got
about his
to.
book, but I haven't listened to it. Another cool guy. I've helped out the American racing team at the kart tracks, and John's always out there. Eaton's out there. Eaton does real estate. He does a lot of big build projects. So yeah, we've all talked and rode together. And another great guy, John, just a bike nerd, total bike
Yeah,
nerd. Just one of us.
he is, dude. He's because see, COVID went to GP in Texas. I usually go every year. And I seen John. I was like, oh shit, there's John Hopkins. I went straight up to him, was like, John, bro, I just got done listening to your book on audiobook. It was absolutely phenomenal. He stopped dead in his track, came up and gave me a big old hug. It was like, dude, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was like, dude, you're a freaking legend, bro. Like, I've been watching you for ever since you started racing, right? Thank God for John Ulrich and bringing you up,
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it was yeah, man, good
those
stuff.
those
So
are the legends. Those are the legends.
absolutely they are. Podcast, do you listen to any podcasts too as well?
I don't. It's actually something I'm wanting to kind of like dive into more since I've gotten into these Audible books. It's like you drive a lot of long drives. You can only listen to so much music. So no, I'm actually starting to poke around at like which podcasts to kind of gravitate towards, but haven't found any yet.
Well, there's one right here you can listen to for sure. Pin the
No,
Gas
I, and,
podcast,
and
right?
I have been like I saw you had Brandon Cretu on the other day. I'm like, dude, that's one of my boys. So no, it's yeah, I love this because I mean, moto related. Who doesn't like hearing and talking about moto?
Right, absolutely. And I'm gonna do a plug real quick. So listen, if you go to my Podbean, you can go to Podbean, it's free, and put in Pin the Gas. Dude, I got like 239 episodes on there. But if you
Dang.
listen to it on Spotify, there's only like 98 episodes. I don't know what's going on. I emailed Spotify twice waiting on a response. I'm like, why ain't my other podcast on there? Like,
Right? A
but
lot
yeah,
missing.
bro, it's technology, right? They say they're so smart. Yeah, okay.
The AI stuff scares me. I've had to jump on board.
Bro.
Another book I read, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Very, very good business related, but even just like personal life and perspective.
Yeah.
But he said something that really resonated with me because I'm very against all this AI. I don't like it personally.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school. But he
Yeah.
says that if you're not currently utilizing AI for your business, you're out of business in 8 to 10 years. And doing some research, I 100% believe it. And I've now adopted AI with me and my assistants. Things are a bit easier. You know, I even designed a few houses using Chat GPT. I'm not going to lie. There's a secret. Everyone talks about my houses and my flips. I designed them. Chat GPT has been helping me for a couple of houses. So yeah, just jump on board, people. Like, you ain't got to like it, but if you can't beat them, join them.
I mean, it's the way of the future, and AI is absolutely a scary thing, right? I mean, look at it's listen, AI could be very dangerous for sure, but it's the way of the world and the way of the future. I mean, because of AI, we'll be able to sit here and do this and amongst other things, you know.
Right.
It's it's scary, but again, if you want to progress and make a future for yourself, you really have no choice. Because I'm
It's
more
just
old school like you, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just sad how people that really aren't professionals, that maybe are new in an industry, any industry, real estate, motorcycle racing, can with their elevator pitch seem like the ultimate professional due to AI. So
Yeah.
there's like things I don't like about it. Seems like more manipulation to the general public, but what do I know?
Uh, Listen, I sell stuff on eBay and I use eBay AI to do the freaking description instead of typing it out. I'm like, one button, boom, it's done. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
Well,
on
listing
that front,
descriptions
it's
are
good.
ChatGPT now.
Right? Yeah, I'm going to sell this part. Now, watch this. AI is going to do it. Bam, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It's crazy when you dive into it how smart it
man.
is, but
Absolutely. So I love to cook, Chad. I get it from my mom. So I cook home meals pretty much all the time. Shoot, even my dog, I cook her home meals. She don't even eat dog food out of the dog store. She gets chicken, rice, vegetables, yada yada yada, right? But what's for dinner tonight, bro?
well, I hate cooking. I go to Costco and buy like all the fully cooked meat and just throw it in the oven for 10, 20 minutes, or like, frozen cauliflower pizzas or something, or like I just buy hard boiled eggs or like cooked chicken to like eat out of the fridge. I have a weird diet. But I'm lucky where I'm at. There's a taco truck that parks on Tuesday nights out front, and they're really good. So I'm going tacos tonight since it's there. It's cheap, it's delicious, and healthy-ish. So, and the
Right?
dogs, they just get dry dog food. I suck. I'm a shitty dog owner.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Dude, you got to have some avocado and some hot sauce on that stuff. On
Oh, I'm
those
a big
tacos,
hot
right?
sauce guy. I want my food to talk to me while I eat it. Yeah, make me sweat, make me squirm, give me some milk. Yeah, I like spice. Yeah, like I had sushi for lunch for a work meeting, and yeah, just douse on the sriracha and the jalapenos, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, more. Yeah, pain
Dang.
again, pain.
That's why I like hot sauce, man. Like, have you ever watched the hot ones on YouTube?
No, no, no.
Oh, dude, you got to check it out. So this guy sits down and he interviews celebrities, right? Like, if me and you go, I'm interviewing you right now. We have 10 chicken hot wings in front of us, from like the most regular hot sauce to like 3.4 million Scoville. And we eat one, and then I ask you a question, and we eat one, they get hotter and hotter and hotter as you go along. I got 4 bottles of that hot sauce in my refrigerator. I love it. It's good, it's hot, but man, the hottest, okay, two real quick stories. The hottest food I've ever ate out of any restaurant I've ever been to, and I always ask for pretty much the hot, especially when I go to a Mexican restaurant. I'm like, let me get the hottest stuff. They bring me this whatever it is. I'm like, bro, go back in the back and make this special hot sauce. So we did that the other day at the Mexican restaurant. He comes out, he stood there with his arms laughing, like, and I'm sitting there, I'm just banging it out. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, it's all right. It's not that hot. And he's like, holy shit, right? Dude, Indian. I went to Indian. We
Wow.
got this one out here called Nawabs, and I love Indian food, right? So I go in there, and usually I order a 4, right, out of 5, which is still it's pretty warm. So I'm feeling froggy. I'm like, dude, I just want to pain. I said, hey man, I want this special hot sauce you guys make in the back. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like 100% positive. He walks over to the other 2 waitresses. They're looking at me. They're all laughing, right? And I'm watching them. I'm like, what's everybody laughing at me for? Bro,
Like
he
this guy.
brings this plate of food. None, bro. He brings this food. I get about 6 bites, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, it was painful to eat. I ate it just to because of the
Got to
pain
prove a
and to
point.
show them.
Yeah, yeah, man
I
up.
gotta get it done. Like, I'm crying, eating it, sweating. Just yeah, it was and the second hottest thing I ever did, my buddy bought me it was called the Death Nut Challenge. I think it was 13 million Scoville peanuts, right? I ate 6 of them. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at this. I never used ice cream sandwiches that way before in my life. It was
Yeah.
absolutely horrendous the next couple of days. My taste buds were
I was gonna
fucked up for
say
like 2 weeks.
it's bad coming out when it's that hot.
Bro, it was yeah, it was not fun, to
I did
walk
a
in there.
ghost pepper wing challenge when I was like 21, 22 at this like local bar in Santa Clarita. Me and friends were going. And if you finished, it was 8 wings, 8 ghost pepper wings. If you finished all of them, the whole table's, bill was free. So there was like 10 of us. They're like, dude, you can do it. And there's a table doing it next to us. The guy made it like to the wing 2 or 3 before he tapped out. Well, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't have regular milk. So I was like, bring him over, bring him over. I got to wing 6 and there was fluid coming out of orifices I didn't even know existed. And lactose intolerant, I was like, give me the milk. I was downing like the gallon of milk. I was throwing up. I was crying. It was miserable. And there's more to that story that's probably not for this podcast, but it's hilarious. So it was hot. It was hot.
I did funny because I went to Buffalo Wild Wings and they were like, "Oh, Simcoe, we know you like hot stuff. We'll buy your meal if you order the hottest wings." I'm like, no brainer. Let's get them. Let's get them in there. And it was like 8 of them, right? So I'm sitting there. I got 4 of them down. And the trick is the trick is just to bang them out real quick. It's like, right? And don't stop. If you stop, that's when the pain really hits you, right? So I'm banging them out. My buddy's like, "Oh, they don't look too hot." He takes a half a bite of one and he runs to the bathroom. So I eat them all, and the waitress was like, "Damn, you just banged them out." Like, no problem. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, they were hot. I was like, they are pretty freaking warm. I ain't gonna lie. Would I order this regular on the menu? Absolutely not, because they were horrible tasting. It was just that intense heat where it didn't taste good, right?
Yeah,
But
that was like these wings. They were not good. It was just banging. I only got to 6. I was too short, so nothing was free. Just a miserable night.
I'm sorry, fellas, I let you down. Yeah, I feel you. Dude, listen, I ask everybody this, man. If you had a private track day, Chad, and you can invite any 3 people in the world, dead or alive, what 3 people are you going to bring to your track day?
Dead or alive? Oof. I have so much fun just riding with my homies. Luckily they're alive. I'd invite Matty Rich, Wes Farnsworth, and I have a lot of fun on 2 wheels. And no offense to anybody else, but my boy Nick Scoggins, he's the one whose bike I borrowed and got pulled over. So he's the one that got me into bikes. We've been friends like 20 years, one of my best friends. So yeah, I think those would be my 3.
I love it. I love it. Look, man, we're actually over an hour and almost 10 minutes to this. So I'm going to ask you one more question and then I'll let you give the shout outs. I'll give the shout outs and we'll end the podcast because I'm going to go cook me some dinner. And we'll schedule that part too. So let me see. I got so many more to ask you. I'll save them for part 2, but this one, if you had your own private island, what's the one racetrack you'd have on your island?
Ooh. Of tracks I've rode, Phillip Island. 100% Phillip Island. That track, bro. Jason Pridmore invited me to that. That's what got me back into racing after my big ankle injury. Because I didn't ride for 3 years, and that's when my real estate really took off, and I was actually selling his mom's house. And I went over there for a Christmas dinner, and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing the International Classic, and you're coming with me, and you're going to get to ride for 2 days during the track days." So we were all on BMW M1000s, and I didn't suck. So Jason's like, "You're going to start racing," and that's when I showed up to Utah in 2018. Was because of that. But that track, oh my gosh, I get a little chubby thinking about it. I ain't gonna lie. It's like no track I've ever experienced in my life. It was a bucket list for me. So of tracks I've rode, that would be it. Of American tracks, I'd say Utah. I love Utah. But I'm sure there's another track somewhere in the world I haven't rode yet that would top that. So there's still a lot of tracks I want to go explore. I want to do some Euro trips and, hopefully Max will, tag me along and take me to some cool tracks. So maybe I'll change that answer the next podcast.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, Chad, it's been an absolute honor, a proper mega Willy good time like I told you we'd have. Again, it's an absolute honor. And yes, you're an absolute legend, Chad, for sure. 110%, bro. But before we get off here, I'm going to give my shout outs and I'm going to let you close the podcast out. Listen, I'd just like to thank everybody that watches, likes, and subscribes to my podcast. It's an absolute honor. I love every single one of you men and women out there. Thank you guys so much. You guys just don't even know how much it means to me. It really does. And if you guys hadn't had the chance yet, go to my Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. You guys know the deal. To like, to subscribe, all that snazzy jazzy stuff, right? And I appreciate it. Big shout out to Next Level Financial for all your financial needs. BisonTrack.com. People, come on. What are you guys waiting on? And ladies, they do kids, women, children. BisonTrack.com. RD Racing, my mates out there in the UK. And Jake Marsh, absolute proper mega legend. He's a future legend coming up over there. Big shout out to the Clothing Kings, which is another sponsor of mine. You guys can go to clothingkings.co.uk out there in the UK and get all your Pin to Gas merch. Flying Eyes Optics is a new sponsorship that I took on actually in Wisconsin. These sunglasses right here, check these things out. They're actually made to wear underneath motorcycle helmets, and they're the lightest sunglasses out. I mean, dude, I got Oakley's, Ray-Bans, Maui Jim, Costas, yada yada yada. These are far superior in lightness and feel. Man, they're so comfortable. I wear them all day. I'm surprised I still have them because my wife friend, she tries to steal them from me all the freaking time. But you got cool. Dude, they're awesome. They also come in prescriptions. I got all kinds of styles. So you guys can go to flyingeyesoptics.com, use the discount code PINTOGAS10 and get 10% off. Big shout out to Chef Eats. I wish Chef Eats sent food out there where you are, but over here on the East Coast, yeah, I think he goes as far as Texas. Man, as far as like what you said, go online, order dude, you can get like 11 meals for $100, and they're the best meals you ever had. Dude, the steak is juicy, the chicken is tender, the pork is listen, I'm freaking starving right now, right? But chefeast.com, you guys hear me talk about it all the time. He's absolutely amazing, and his food is freaking fantastic. He sponsors a lot of future legends in Moto America, a lot of club day, track day riders too. He's got athlete meals. I mean, you name it, breakfast, the whole nine. Big shout out to SFL Mini GP, all my friends in Jersey and South Florida, man. I hope you guys are safe. Vet2 Track, he's a guy. Jim Whitman, Chad, he has this program called Vet2 Track, right? What he does is he gets our military people suffering with PSTD. He takes them to the track and cures it one lap at a time. So any of my military friends out there, hit up Vet2 Track, vet2track.com. He's absolutely amazing human being. Anybody out there needs custom body work, you already guys know the deal. Ghetto Customs by my man Chris Parrish, absolute legend himself, and his body work is phenomenal. He makes a lot of body work for a lot of people in the paddock too as well. As far as undersuits go, big shout out to 64 Degree Racing. They made me a custom two-piece undersuit. And as far as two-piece undersuits go, it is hands down by far my favorite undersuit. It is absolutely, go to 64 Degree Racing, people, and just look them up. It's freaking amazing products. You'll love it. Trust me. Last but not least, all my mates out there in BSB Barmy Army, Chad, their program out there, what they do, Shane, he goes around and gets like let's say me and you went around to Moto America paddock and got like a signed boot from Caleb Yakov and a visor off of Brandon Posh, and we sold it in a 501 nonprofit, and then we take that money and we help out kids coming up through racing that need a new pair of boots and their parents can't afford it. Guess what? We will provide those boots for you. That's his program out there in the UK. We actually need a program like that here in America.
Yeah, that sounds like something we need out here for sure. Because I mean, the big reason a lot of people don't go to the track or race, racing's struggling right now. Like, we need more people into racing. It's the cost. The cost is crazy. I mean, these little bikes do make it a lot less expensive. You know, even if you go down, they're not as expensive to repair. Tires last longer, but yeah, it's getting into racing is not a cheap sport, and it's the best sport. So we need to get more people in and just try to cut costs, try to figure out how to make it affordable.
100%, right? So listen, everybody, it's been an absolute honor to sit down with Chad. Chad, is there anything you want to say before we end this podcast?
No, I want to thank you, Chris, for inviting me on here. This was a blast. I'm truly flattered. You know, I'm not a legend, but I appreciate the title. Pin the Gas podcast. You know, if it wasn't for all you, I wouldn't be here talking. And yeah, if you know, everyone can always find me at the local tracks around California. And if you need any real estate in California, I've been doing this for 17, coming up on 18 years. I'm dating myself. And I love working with moto people. I understand the struggles that we have at the track. And if your housing costs too much, you don't have any track fund. So it's my incentive to make sure that you stay within budget, save money, and let's go riding, because that's the fun part. So Yeah, anything real estate related in California, let me know. And you can always catch me in all the Compact Octane events. Go to compactoctane.com. We have a free race school, free coaching, free loaner suits from Alpine Stars. So if you only have a bike and a helmet, we got everything else for you at no cost. So yeah, hope to see you guys at one of our days. Hope to see you at a house showing. And yeah, want to thank you again, Chris. This is a blast, and I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, me too, man. The honor's been absolutely on mine. People are waiting for. If you're in California, hit Chad up. Would you guys going to the next day? Octane. Oh, did you say it was Octane what
Yeah,
.com?
compactoctane.com. And our next event's actually pretty unique. We're going to be at Apex Karting Center, so on mini bikes, Avales, Supermotos, and $300 gets you the whole weekend. So we have the track from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, take an hour off, and then 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on lights. And then it's free camping. We'll have some food trucks. We'll probably barbecue. And then we'll have Sunday 9 to 5 for $300, and I'll be out there. I'll be out there just coaching, just whoever wants help. I'm really not out there for me. I'm out there for all you guys. So the more the merrier. Bring all your kids. This is a good one for kids being on the kart track. So that's our next event, the 26th and 7th of this month in a few weeks.
Well, what are you guys waiting for? And girls, go to the website, sign up, and Chad will see you there. But ladies and gentlemen, again, it's an absolute honor. Yes, Chad Lewin, the legend on the podcast. I can't wait for part 2. But for now, people, we're out of here. All right.
Peace out.
Let me end this.